Good afternoon. Thank you so much for bearing with us. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. As I mentioned to Duke, I believe that I, I, whatever's, they don't play well with many others. So we usually do have technical difficulties when people are using different programs. But I am so honored today to be in the presence of Duke RedBird. Dr. Duke RedBird. And I know I posted this over social media several places that I met you. The first time I met you was several years ago, and I actually posted the picture that I'm the day I met you. And I had some profound conversations with you. You sat beside me, so just humbly being an amazing man that you are. And this is what you gifted me. I just showed you these, and they were the grandfather teachings, and you said, "Oh, this is my last pack, but you can have that." And it was really a humbling moment. But I don't think that you need a big introduction, Mr. Dr. Duke RedBird. I've been following you, and I know my partner in crime here, Sherry Saville, she follows you as well. And you have a legacy of just like stretching back, I think, to the 60s is what your here, let me just grab your bio. This is a pretty long bio, and the work that you've done has shifted so much and so many people. And from everything that your degrees and your poetry and paintings and theaters and film, you're going to just show up here today and share some of your magical poetry that's basically going to explain your life and the relevance of it.
Yeah.
I'm so honored you're here. Take it away and say hi.
Well, thank you. Megwich, as we say in Ojibwe. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. It's very fitting that on St. Patrick's Day that a poet is featured because, as you all know, the Irish are famous for their poetry, and and the reason that they're famous for their poetry is that the original Gaelic was a verb-based language, like Indigenous languages are verb-based, and so they just automatically lend themselves to poetry. So, Oni, Bojo, Sego, Tanse. My name is Duke RedBird, and in my language, my name is pronounced Mugwump Mesquabaneshe, which means Mugwump is Duke, Mesquabaneshe is RedBird. And I'm 82 years old. I'm an elder and a great grandfather. I was born on the Saugeen First Nation, member of the Turtle Clan. And I'm very happy that now in 2021, so many institutions and agencies have begun to offer land acknowledgements in an effort to satisfy some of the recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Well, land acknowledgements are not necessarily about ownership of land. We can no more own the land than we can own the air that we breathe. The truth is that we are the stewards of the land, and we borrow its use for a brief time from our children and our grandchildren and generations into infinity. A land acknowledgement that clear that have been outstanding since the time of Confederation. So, excuse me, it's an incumbent upon all of us to continue to remind the Canadian government that they do not have legitimate occupation and control of 2/3 of Canada until there is an agreement with Indigenous peoples. So often we think of Toronto as a relatively new city on the world stage and forget that Indigenous people have thrived for thousands of years on these very lands. And so I'm going to recite a poem that I wrote as a land acknowledgement. and it's called A Dish with One Spoon. Goes like this. And before I start, I'm going to say that our Mother Earth has inspired us with great art and great ideas. So the dish with one spoon goes like this. The indigenous nations welcomed settlers from across the seas when they arrived in their territories. Such beauty revealed before their eyes was beyond their ability to describe. In all the languages that the settlers spoke, there were no words that could evoke with any clarity a single thought that Mother Nature's splendor brought. It was from the indigenous tongues that the settlers learned the language of the earth in all her idioms. Toronto from Takaranto, trees standing in the water, a meeting place where small fish could gather, nearby hills where the alders grow, the passenger pigeons rested in a place called Mimico. And to the west, where the great waters flow, the lake and lands were called Ontario. Now the eagle soars high with prayers for Manitou. The Mississauga people smudge and launch their birch bark canoes. Three sisters, corn, bean, and squash. The planting season has begun. Tobacco is offered, a gift to grandfather's son. Sage, sweetgrass, and cedar. To grandmother moon, there is peace, joy, and harmony in the treaty lands called A Dish with One Spoon. So our Mother Earth has inspired a lot of great art and great ideas. And she wrapped them, in a wisdom that has been shared with the world in many, many incredible ways. So I'd like to explain that poetry is to conversation as dancing is to walking. Conversations take you from A to B, and when you get to your destination, the conversation is over. But dancing, on the other hand, has no destination. It's just beautiful when it happens. And like dancing, can be repeated over and over and over. So today, I would like to share a compilation of poems that I wrote that represents revelations that were 80 years in the making. So I hope that everyone is safe and healthy today as we approach the spring equinox. And today's poetry is a selection of verses that were written over the past 50 years. Let me begin with a dream vision I had about a cataclysmic event that occurred at a place called Wounded Knee just a half century before I was born in March 1939. The poem goes like this. This morning, just before the dawn, when the campfire ashes were hardly blinking, I see the frost and the ground is not breathing. I hear you ask, what is happening? Is that a sign that the world is about to end? And is a Holocaust about to begin? Will fire come from all directions? I gather my children into a circle. Death is only one bullet away, and even the pale horse is breathless today. I see rifles, they glint and gleam. I see Hotchkiss and Gatling guns rolled out into the sun. The horses are snorting. I hear bolts being cocked. Orders are shouted, 50 rounds per man. Let no living thing cross your eyes, nor cross your path and remain alive. I hold my wife and touch her cheek with my hand. If I could see you tomorrow, maybe I would comb your hair or carve your likeness on the handle of my knife. If only I could breathe tomorrow. Go, go, go. Take my horse and my hawktails. My eyes cannot get used to eternity. I see 1,000 shadows on the teepee wall. I see the hollow of 2,000 empty eyes. I hear the wailing of the wind that cannot sleep. I hear the gallop of 4,000 hooves and the shuffle of marching feet. Will I follow my grandfather to our last hunting ground? The white faces are many. We are only a few. The uniforms they wear are Union blue. They slash with sabers now. The tents are all ablaze, and none of us will see tomorrow. And is my soul going to be any less thirsty if I take my tormentor's life as he rips a buckskin dress off the body of my wife? Run, I said, or hide under this buffalo robe. We could not run, and we could not stay. And it's the beginning of winter, the last winter. The world is ending for our people, for our nations, for our civilizations. And now, today, we must always remember the 29th day of December 1890, when, in the land of the so-called free, the American cavalry slaughtered our people with impunity at a place called Wounded Knee. That was America. 100 years later, after that event at Wounded Knee, the Canadian government sent troops to OCAD, Quebec, in 1990, with the same intention to occupy and expropriate the lands of the Haudenosaunee people, the Mohawk people. This poem I'm about to share with you is a lament and a tribute to all the grandmothers who have ever lived and endured the inflicted violence and suffering of their children. Old woman in the field, bent low, immobile and still. What thoughts tumble about behind those sad black eyes that have not felt the moist edges and wet bodies of heartbroken tears since the hunger pangs of transgression and broken promises melted away with the passing years? What language does the stream of consciousness employ? Is it words or sounds or mists of past reflections hastily snatched before the precious breath of life forsakes you entirely? No time now, old woman, for multiplication tables and essays. No time now for politics and religion. No time now for polite conversation. How close you are to the earth. How low you've bent. In the lengthening shadows, you appear to be another stone upon the bare horizon. And the bright sun of your youth has faded softly behind you, so that now the rays only reflect your image across the naked desert. And what of you? Will you sink below the surface of my perception and slip away from my understanding and stand in the darkness? Old woman, I know who you are. I know this barren wasteland upon which I stand was once a forest, and you, old woman, had life and beauty, energy and passion, love and abundance, freedom and chatter with the gods. Birch trees cried, "Here, take my bark, that you might sleep in my arms." And the great creatures of the forest dropped their fur clothing and said, "Let my warmth be your warmth. Make a pillow for your head." And the birds swooped down and laid their finest plumage at your feet and bade you wear them, for you were their child, their brown golden child, who sang their songs and danced their dance. No, your eyes have not harbored tears, but your body has carried the burden of sorrow and the weight of treachery. For others came, pale, helpless souls, and your golden arms encircled them, and your golden heart embraced them, and your golden mouth kissed them. This was your youth, old woman, bent so low. Where are they now? After they cut down your beloved forests and slaughtered your animal brothers and tore the wings from your bright birds and ground your mountains into dust, did they leave you with anything at all except pain, misery, sorrow, and hunger? What thoughts have you? What last word before you give up your spirit to eternity? Did they leave you even that? One thought, one word to take with you to the last hunting ground. Love, at the age of 13 months, my mother passed away and I was taken from my family. And I was placed in white foster homes where I spent my childhood and youth, separated from my language, from my community, and from my culture. And in 1960, when I was 20 years old and faced with the challenge of discovering my roots, I wrote this poem. My moccasins have not walked among the giant forest trees. My leggings have not brushed against the fern and berry bush. My medicine pouch has not been filled with roots and herbs and sweetgrass, and my hands have not fondled the spotted fawn. My eyes have not beheld the golden rainbow of the north, and my hair has not been adorned with the eagle feather. Yet my dreams are dreams of these. My heart is one with them. The scent of them caresses my soul. Ten years later, in 1970, I wrote this next poem to celebrate the real value of life on this planet from an Indigenous lens. I was a young adult, motivated only by art, poetry, and self-preservation, because in those days, access to money and power was denied to the indigenous people by the dominant culture. It's called I Am the Red Man. I am the red man, son of the forest, mountain, and lake. What use have I of the asphalt? What use have I of the brick and concrete? What use have I of the automobile? Think you these be gifts divine that I should be humbly grateful? I am the red man, son of the tree, hill, and stream. What use have I of china and crystal? What use have I of diamonds and gold? What use have I of money? Think you these from heaven sent that I should be eager to accept? I am the red man, son of the earth, water, and sky. What use have I of silk and velvet? What use have I of nylon and plastic? What use have I of your religion? Think you these be holy and sacred that I should kneel in awe? I am the red man. And I look at you, my other brothers and sisters, and I ask you, save not me from sin and evil. Save yourselves. "60 years ago, I was faced with the challenge of discovering my roots. And my personal vision quest took me on a journey from the shores of Hudson Bay to the Aztec pyramids of Mesoamerica. And I spent many days and nights talking with storytellers and elders and wisdom keepers. And I wrote this poem. The drum has started beating. The chanting, first high, then low, then high again. The drumstick is just a blur upon the painted buffalo skin. The chanting, a haunting cry that stirs dead hearts and moves deep passions abandoned down in the dark recesses of the soul. I close my eyes and darkness has disappeared. Color now is everywhere, leaping and bounding, laughing and swirling, rising and falling, spinning and curling rhythmically and symmetrically. The chant and the drum, my voice and my heart. If they live, I live. Life and death, love and sorrow. I am a man and a God too. Joy, harmony, and freedom. I am free and I dance. Soon after, in my mid-20s, I met the mother of my children. And I wrote this poem called Marriage. No priest had told her she was mine. No ring bound her to me. No ceremony had sanctified her soul, and no paper had seen her name. Yet, loving hands sewed the beads on my moccasins. Shining eyes greeted me after the hunt. Tender caresses put my spirit to sleep, and silent words told me I was brave. For the Great Spirit had beheld her virtue. His voice had led her to me. Our Mother Earth received us both, and we became one with their blessing. A lot happened as I approached middle age. I was a single father of 3 children, Jay, Nahani, and Nazani. I was an activist working in the political arena and finding that the policies of the government remained entrenched in assimilation and cultural genocide. I prayed and I put tobacco down as the elders instructed and wrote this poem. Tobacco burns when touched by fire. The smoke rises up, blue and gray, a mist that holds medicine. The spirit is strong, the story is old, the smoke curls. I feel a sound, the sound of drums on distant hills, of buffalo hoofs on frozen ground, a medicine chant wailing by breezes that had not blown for many moons, nor suns that shine no longer on brown children. My body cries for strong medicine, but my eyes water from treachery. My brain bleeds, my heart sweats, and I regret that tobacco burns, and I am not strong. "50 years had passed since I was born, and I was confronted by a crisis of identity, introspection, and bewilderment. As I tried to find my way, I wrote this poem. How often I've looked into this mirror and tried to decipher what I see, for flesh and blood are reflected there, but not the soul of me. Long I sit and stare and peer within the two dimensions of this mirror, hoping that for just one instant I might see the distant, lonely soul of me. Reason tells me to throw down this black-backed piece of glass. For the shadow of my soul it cannot pass, for it's hid deep down inside of me. And though I stare within its depths all eternity, it shall only reflect the mocking mask that surrounds and hides the distant soul of me. Well, the 20th century had come and gone, and a new millennium had dawned, and through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, the Prime Minister of the day felt obliged to apologize to the survivors of the residential schools. He didn't acknowledge the thousands of children that died. I wrote this poem in remembrance of those stolen children, those stolen souls. Often, when I walk alone among the forests near my home, I hear a faint whisper in the trees, possessed with an insistent urgency. We are, the voices say, the silent victims of a stifled crime. Our bodies lie in unmarked graves. We are the victims of a madness, the casualties of rage. We are, the voices say, the slaughtered innocent of residential schools. Their wickedness was our apocalypse, the four horsemen of our demise. They came like a whirlwind of destruction, pale riders with evil in their eyes. We are the disappeared, the voices say. The missing witness who saw the face of their real intent behind their arrogant benevolence. Oh, we lived in terror and we died in fear of neglect, abuse, and suicide. And now we lie in fields beside the institutions where we died. Our souls and spirits and bodies left unclaimed. No cross or marker bears our name. Oh, the government pondered and the churches devised a perfect solution, a flawless disguise. Educate the stolen children even to their death. Kill the Indian and the child without regret. Heathens need no place to rest. As buffalo bones were left to bleach beneath the prairie sun and sky, so too the souls of children stolen from their homes were left to perish without an honor song, without an honor dance to say goodbye. This was the first deliberate genocide. And now, the institutions of church and state, whose promise was to educate, oh, they apologize for their mistakes and distance themselves from that embrace that produced such venom and disgrace. These children, innocent victims, like lambs, led to the slaughter. The churches, schools, and governments slew our sons and daughters. I seek a monument to these slain ones, a cenotaph where I might lay a wreath, some place to kneel in wisdom and in grief, to honor the memory of those that died. We, the generation that survived, we need to witness to those yet unborn that your spirits were never broken, that in your silent courage, suffering, and pain, we learn to set aside the shame and to live our lives in triumph and in pride. And now, with chant and drum, we promise and solemnly proclaim, when we assemble at powwows, work, and play, we dedicate a moment as we pray to smudge with cedar, sweetgrass, smoke, and sage to the memory of those dear lost children who lie in unmarked graves. It's 2021, and our children are still crying, and they're still dying. And I was moved to write this poem called You Belong. All you young folks out there who are in the winter of despair, when nothing in this world seems right and darkness shades the light, when everything that once brought happiness and good has turned from solid gold to rotten wood, when pain and suffering seems more than you can bear, when bullies chase and taunt and scare, when there is no one anywhere who wants to listen or even care, and all your thoughts are to run and hide, or worse yet, commit suicide. When you have only one voice inside that cries out, Creator, be my guide. This is too hard. I can't decide. Remember that somewhere in the distant past, an ancestor of yours had a similar task and the same questions to ask. Maybe a grandmother in a residential school, or a grandfather out in the cold without any fuel, or further back yet, when the smallpox came and there was no cure. Your ancestors bore the suffering and the pain because they knew if they gave up and were not able to overcome, there would be no granddaughter or grandson. They had to navigate the storm to ensure that you, their child, would be born. And now it's your turn to carry on, to help the spirits waiting for so long to come to earth and to give them birth. Your ancestors did not falter for 100,000 years. They lived that you might also know the secrets of the stars above, the wisdom of the earth below. So now I urge you to keep the circle strong. Tomorrow will bring a brighter dawn. The Creator wants you to stay right here where you belong. Tomorrow, March the 18th, 2021, I will be 82 years old. The world is in a crisis of pandemic and climate change, and humanity is at risk. The secret to our survival is the theme of this next poem. It's called The Power of the Land. In every nation, in every clan, the elders to a person, whether woman or a man, shared a common truth, one truth to understand that the spirit of the people is equal to the power of the land. The mother of us all, the sacred Mother Earth, is constant in her giving and perpetual in her birth. In meadows and in fields where weeds and flowers grow, she conceives the summer showers and spawns the winter snows. In forests and mountains, she gives the birds that fly every type of wing, then coaxes the wind to join in harmony when they begin to sing. In brooks and streams and rivers as they flow, she generates the dreams that makes the fires glow. And in every creature, whether large or small, she buries gems of wisdom in them all. And in every grain of sand, she plants the knowledge of the power of the land. And those that honor her creations and acknowledge her grand design, she gives the templates of the sacred and the patterns of the divine. And then with certain knowledge, this to understand that the spirit of the people is equal to the power of the land. As you all continue your journey in life, remember always that we are inheritors of a great tradition. And in our families, in our homes, in our classrooms, we must share the benevolence of the Creator with generosity. And we must share our culture and live by the 7 grandfather teachings as we understand them, which are wisdom, courage, respect, honesty, truth, humility, and love. So I want to wish everyone much success as the days go on, as this pandemic unfolds, and finally we are protected by the vaccine and by good health and by the prayers of our ancestors. And let's try to be better ancestors for our children and grandchildren, future progeny, because they will be seeking, as they come along, the wisdom that you and I and all of us today have passed on in our lifetime. Megwetch, and thank you for being here on this, our St. Patrick's Day, the poetry by Duke RedBird. Megwetch.
Whoa, which to you. That was so awesome. It was just so fulfilling. And we have some nice messages here from our relatives that are watching. I'm just going to post them a little bit here, and just there was so much information in there that was profound for me, and that resonated with just all of the work that, and it's not even work, it's life, it's what we do at Grandmother's Voice that is just so important. And your words were just perfection to, I guess we're at a point in our speaker series, Uncle Duke, that at the beginning in December, I don't know that I ever had this opportunity to tell you, but the grandmothers, we had this opportunity to create this series, and grandmother Renee was like, we need to make sure that the relatives and the people are healthy, are staying as healthy as possible. And so this is where this Awaken the Medicines Within series began. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were contacted by someone in our Catholic school board here in Halton and said the work has just been fabulous. And, being able to listen to the elders and the knowledge keepers and just people sharing their gifts and just a ways of keeping people happy and healthy and reflective. And so this is where we are. We're at a point now where we're actually extending our series, and in our plan, this was going to be the finishing piece. Like today, you were going to finish this speaker series. And so that, to me, and listening to everything that you said, and then also finishing with the mentioning in your last poem about the spirit of the people is equal to the power of the land, it's just so magical, because that's exactly what we're doing with Grandmother's Voice, and the community here in Halton is beginning a program that is actually going to be land-based, and just returning people back to the understandings that we can find the medicine within. And this is just has been such a gift, like full circle gift from the Creator, that when you commit to understanding and wanting to live life while you're here and making your life relevant, that's really what I got from all of your poems. And I hope to see that in a book one day. I hope that's something you're working on.
I have it here.
Right? That's where you read it from? Come on. Can we get that?
There it is.
Oh my gosh, it looks so gorgeous. We're going to buy some of those. And so we have messages here from people. I'm actually putting them up. The most beautiful poetry I've ever been blessed to hear. Thank you, Granduncle Duke. Very uplifting in these times.
Oh, wow.
And another one, this is from Lana. I did a presentation on you in my Canadian Lit at York in 1990, complaining that there were no Indigenous writers on the syllabus. Amazing to hear your beautiful, strong words come alive. Miigwech.
Oh boy, thank you. Yes. Gosh.
And then I don't have my glasses on. You could probably read better with your glasses. My husband walked by and said, "Whoa, those are cool glasses." Hey, Nancy, I hear you chuckling in the background. Thank you for making this happen.
So my pleasure, Jody. You're doing a fabulous job with Grandmother's Voice.
Aw, thanks. I would love to have you guys come out and visit us. Here's a message here from Anne. She's asking where you find the beautiful book. Where is that being sold?
Well,
I'll send her. Jody, what I will do is to send you contact information, and you post it. And if anybody is interested in getting a copy of this great anthology, we can send it their way.
Oh my gosh, for sure. We can post that right now. Do you want to read it? We just have another minute. Do you want to read it to me and I'll post it right here on the link? Do you have it handy?
Where the
Do you want me to just send an email?
Yeah, just send it. Send an email link, and you have my address.
Is it yours? Just read it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's n.b.wolfe, WOLFE, at simpatico.ca.
Oh yes, that's simpatico.
Yeah, that famous simpatico.
I love it. There you go. That's where you can get the book. We just posted order the book at the above email. That's just amazing. I really hope that well, I'm actually going to tell you, don't hang up, okay? Because once we exit this platform and say goodbye to our patient and lovely relatives that stayed with us today, I'd like to talk to you guys in the back room. This was really wonderful. We will definitely take a look. I think that those books should be in every school. And right, I would.
They are going to be. The TDSB is going to make sure that a book gets put into every library in the entire 585 schools of the Toronto District School Board. So
amazing.
They'll be there for next year when we're all back to school and when the schools open again. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. And we'll take a look too, because we also have our collaborative table that we belong to in our school boards from Niagara all the way to Windsor. So we'll talk. Everyone should have this. Everyone should have this book. It was so reflective and it just covers so much history in a beautiful way, a really beautiful way. And so I'm so honored.
There's 145 poems in the book, so that was a selection for today's presentation. But there's plenty more that I'm sure people will enjoy just as much.
Amazing. I had to bring my co-conspirator here, Sherry Sayville. Oh, there you are, Nancy. We can see you now. Oh, good. So did you, Sherry is usually on here with me hosting and navigating through these interviews. We work together at the Halton Catholic District School Board. And so she's just come on because I think she may have gotten out of her last
last class today.
My last meeting. I was doing some interviewing for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
So I don't know.
It was wonderful.
Awesome. So we can say goodbye to everyone that's watching, but Duke and Nancy, if you can hold on for a second, that would be great.
Let
And
me ask you something,
yes,
Jody.
for sure.
If people would like to hear the musical version of Power of the Land, they can go to YouTube. It's a composition composed by the Sultans of String, and Duke is involved with the poem. So I think people might really enjoy seeing it and hearing it.
That's awesome. And is that on the YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel? Okay, awesome. Oh yes. This is excellent. No, plug away. We have so many people that have been doing this. Hey, Carol, my girlfriend from my golfing community in Windsor. Yeah, girl, she's getting ready for the weather. This has been so amazing. And since we are going to plug, I might as well just talk about what we're doing Friday as well with Dr. Mike Dockstader. He's been with us for several weeks. It's a 7-week series, and we're talking. I mean, he's just sharing so much amazing information. And Deahande, sorry, he's coming. Is that how you pronounce it, Sherry? Why do I always get mixed up with the T's and the D's?
Deahande, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so he'll be coming on as well soon. And we have a good friend of ours, Andrea Curley, that's going to be visiting next week. And then Painting with Moses. And this has just become something. I never thought that we'd be doing this on the platform. I'm probably not the best person to do this, but I'm definitely just throw me into yeah. Thank you. I'm just like, throw me in there. Let's just do it and get it done. Let's just do it. This has just been really wonderful. Thanks, Ange. And she was just saying that it's very exciting news. So maybe we'll get Duke back on here, Nancy.
Yes.
Right? Have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day, everyone, and stay away from that green stuff.